delay.
Because when you are joining, I think somebody needs to press admit the people, right? Is it correct, or it's automatically adding up participants? Because when you are joining, I think somebody needs to press admit the people, right? Is it correct? When you are joining, I think somebody needs to press admit the people, right?
You are in the loop.
Is it correct, or it's automatically adding up participants? Sorry for that. When you're joining, I think somebody needs to press admit the people, right? Is it correct? When you're joining, I think somebody needs to press admit the people, right?
You are in the loop.
Is it correct, or it's automatically? I think I spoiled the whole event. Sorry for that. When you're joining, I think somebody needs to press admit the people, right? Is it correct? Pavel, I think it's yours because I'm only online and you, no?
It's you, Pavel.
I think it's yours because I'm only online and you, no?
Oof. It seems that we managed. It's you, Pavel.
I think it's yours because I'm only online and you, no?
Oof. Did we manage? It looks like. Yeah. We can start now, I think. It's a high time to say good morning, welcoming everybody. And on our second webinar, the main topic of our meeting today is SDGs Action Manager. And we are going to have fantastic guests. We are going to have fantastic conversation as usual, and let me welcome. Let me present who we have in the fishbowl, and why we are in English. We are in English because of our keynote speaker, Neila Benamara, who is SDGs SDGs Program Manager UK Europe from B Lab. And Neila will lead us through SDGs Action Manager and respond to the questions. We have also Robert Moreň, who is responsible for certification of benefit systems, and now he's an independent expert and friend of the B Corp movement. So welcome, Robert. And we have Mariusz Pelechaty, who is a CEO of Koda Bots. Two gentlemen, just after SDGs Action Manager section, will have a quick discussion. We have the new format we are testing, which is called Robert Moreň Asks, and inviting the new guests, people from outside of our B Corp community, to get their point of view on what we are doing and what are their opinions on what we do, what's our approach. So we would be very anxious to have a word with Mariusz. And we have Wojtek Bagiński, who is my co-B Lab market explorer. And knowing Wojtek for some time, I'm quite sure that Wojtek would like to have a word as well.
I would like to just say, welcome everybody. It's great to have you again here. Second event. First one was about BIA, benefit B impact assessment tool. The second one about the SDG Action Manager. Very interesting topic, a tool that helps companies manage impact. So let's do it. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of the first part is to talk for a moment with Nayla and let her lead us through SDGs Action Manager. And it's a very interesting tool. It's a new tool. It's fresh, still half a year old. And Nayla will present it in a second. What's in it? I think that it would be really great to see what, in the circumstances we are now, what B Corp community and UN Global Compact are bringing into the world. So, Nayla, I think that this is your time. I handed it to you. So please lead us, and then we will ask some more questions.
Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here, to be talking to all of you and traveling without really changing my physical location, but being able to talk with all of you on the other side of Europe. So my name is Nayla, and well, originally I'm French, and I'm working for, as Paul said, for B-Lab Europe. As a SDG program manager for both Europe and the UK, and very happy to guide you through what is usually the SDG Action Manager. So here, let me just, if you allow me to share my screen, and I will presentation, very short slides that we have prepared for you to present the tool. Well, I've already presented myself, so I will go much further away, but just to explain to you some context of elements. The SDG Action Manager was created by B-Lab and officially launched this year as a way to complement the great work that B-Lab is already doing in terms of creating a different type of economic system that we call the stakeholder capitalism. And for this mission, B-Lab has different tools, actually, different ways for that. So we have a B Corp certification that most of you will be familiar already with, that is a way that B-Lab is holding in order to really transform the way companies are behaving and having a systemic perspective and mindset in order to create value for society, taking into account the social and environmental consideration into the governance model. And by getting certified, or by even implementing individual actions or getting themselves into collective actions, companies are actually showing and leading the way in how we can really transform this system so that every single company would be able to have this type of systemic integration of their business and using business as a force for goods. And there was, so the different offers that B-Lab was already having today, and there was a kind of statement that we had a few years ago that we actually needed to accelerate the change, because society, we have many issues to tackle, of course, and we have the climate change emergency that is now more than ever a pressing issue, rising inequalities. And it was so upon this statement that we are bringing the change with the certification and the community, growing community we're having, there was this idea for B-Lab that we needed to make it happen faster. And there was this idea of how can we make it faster and to upscale it even more and extend the reach to be able to really change and get to that stakeholder capitalism, was to have a more common agenda. And that's why we thought about integrating the movement into the more global agenda, which are the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals that have been developed by the UN in 2015. So I guess you're quite familiar with the SDGs, so I won't talk so much about it in details. But the SDGs are this common agenda that have been defined for humanity, a sort of to-do list with those 17 goals that have been defined in a very systemic way so that we would be able to develop ourselves and live all together in this planet in harmony and for both the people and the planet. So those 17 goals have been defined in terms of thematic for in the mindset of leaving no one behind. And the offer that B-Lab was proposing is that since those SDGs have been defined kind of institutional level, we also realized that we would not be able to achieve them on our governments on their own, but needed all different stakeholders to take part in that, because it's a common agenda, whether it's citizens, civil organizations, but especially also private sector itself, the companies. And there is actually a very growing and interesting interest from the companies to contribute to those goals. And this is what B-Lab and the UNGC noticed. They gathered a few years ago, and the project started really 2 years ago. They noticed that many more companies were willing to actually contribute to the SDGs, and they were talking about the SDGs, mentioning it into their sustainability reports, or identifying which SDG will be the priority one. But they also noticed that even though this interest was growing, that there were only few companies that had truly integrated the SDGs in their business strategy. And they noticed that only, for example, you can see on that study that 27% of the SDG were integrated in the business strategy, and only 23% of the companies are integrating the SDG in their KPIs, defining KPIs for the SDGs. So they noticed that there was this gap between the growing interest of the company for the SDGs and the very limited number of companies that are truly embedded the SDGs in their operating model. There was a need for companies to be more guided in that SDG journey. So that's how this idea of creating a new tool and having a new offer was born, to really give those guidance and tools for companies to be able to do that change and to do this behavioral change. And that's how the SDG Action Manager was born. So the SDG Action Manager is actually a free online tool similar to the BIA. It's exactly on the same platform as the BIA, and it provides an internal management possibility for the companies to assess their contribution to the SDGs. The SDG Action Manager was, as I said, launched this year officially in January. We're all very happy to be able to provide this tool to all the companies, so that this tool really aims to translate each SDG into concrete measures, so that the companies who do not know how to contribute but want to contribute to the SDGs know exactly how to do that, because it's sometimes very complicated for companies to relate to those sustainable goals that are defined at society level, to know exactly how these translate into their business context. So that's how it was born. And the tool itself was born as out of a partnership between the UNGC and the SDG Action with B-Lab to have the SDG Action Manager. The expertise of both organizations were very useful in order to really develop a content that would help to be aligned on the SDGs, so the 17 SDGs and the 10 principles of the UN Compact, but also the content from the BIA itself, from B-Lab, because 40% of the SDG Action Manager is actually coming from the BIA, and also the expertise and methodology of B-Lab in terms of guidance and tool for companies' improvement in terms of sustainability. So that's how this project was born, and we're very happy to be able to deliver and to propose this tool for all companies to use widely. Before I jump into a short live demo to show you what it looks like exactly, just to give you some key principles in which the tool was presented, 3 key principles. The first one is that the tool is actually recognizing the interconnectedness of the SDGs, because it was acknowledged that the SDGs are all interwoven between one and another. That's also the difficult part of contributing to them. They're all connected. And the tool is actually allowing the companies to really understand how they're connected by highlighting and putting in light the really common questions from one to another, but also creating focus, because it can be quite overwhelming for companies to contribute to the SDGs when they do not know really where to start, because companies cannot solve all the society issues, but at least the tool is helping companies to create focus by prioritizing which SDG they really want to contribute to. And the last part is the positive and negative impact that companies can have, because we all know that we want to focus on how to have a positive impact on the SDGs, but while still being mindful of the risk of negative impact this could create in the future. So the tool is also highlighting this, how to positively engage companies and allowing them to positively have an impact on the planet, but also being mindful of mitigating the negative impacts. And what I would suggest is actually to show you a little bit what it looks like in real life or online life, I would say. So here, if you can really see my screen that has moved now to a web page, you can see the page for the SDG Action Manager, which looks like this, which is the landing page of any one of you can access very easily at this address and see the main elements of the tool, who are the advisors, the founding partners, and the story of the tool itself. And now to show you what it looks like exactly, here you can see the SDG Action Manager. Here it is. So the SDG Action Manager is actually on the same platform as a BIA. So for those that are already using the BIA, this will look very familiar to you. And here, if I show you around the tool itself, it's here consisting of different models for each SDG. So you have one model for the baseline and then other models for all the different SDGs, the prioritized SDGs that the tool would recommend to you once you complete the baseline, and then all the rest of the different models. You will notice that the SDG number 17 does not appear as a proper model because it's actually diffused and embedded in the mindset in which all the different models have been built, because we believe that everything we do has to be put into the perspective of collaboration. And the way to use the tool is, as I said, free, online, very simple, is first to start filling out the baseline here, which is a mandatory models for all companies to go through, but is also including the 10 principles of the UN Global Compact. And then once this model has been fulfilled, all the different other models are being unlocked. And for each model, as I told you before, the tool is actually translating the SDG into concrete business measures. So for all of these models, you will see what does it mean exactly to contribute to this specific SDG. And there is 4 layers that you could find here, whether it's parts of a company who knows how to contribute as part of their business model and how much the business model itself is already something that is contributing to the SDG, and you can find example in each of the questions, or through their internal operations. Each company can understand how, even without going out of their scope, but even just the way they structure itself internally, it can contribute to the SDGs. And then here the tool is giving you all the elements associating with that. Or even extending further the scope, how the company can contribute to the SDGs with its supply chain and working together with its suppliers and all the different stakeholders to contribute to this specific sustainable goal. And the last part is the collective action and how the company, when it wants to contribute on a much larger scale, can collaborate with other companies, institutions, stakeholders, or even being active in terms of funding and lobbying in order to have a better structure change on top of a behavioral change in order to really make those goals happen and achieving them. And at the last part here, you can see the risk level. It shows for each SDG how the companies can identify the different risks that could happen and how to mitigate them in order to really reduce their negative impacts. So I'm not going to go much more in detail with the tool itself, and I would highly encourage each one of you who are curious about it to go with that and to really make your own assessment on how you're contributing and how you can further contribute to the SDGs.
Thank you, Neila. That was very nice introduction, and we are collecting questions just to use your time with us and to lead us in details in some specific aspects of that. And I would encourage all of participants of our webinar to ask questions on the chat. We will pass it we'll discuss it. We'll discuss them in our little fishbowl with Neila. Just to start with the questions, the B Corp movement is introducing another tool. Last webinar, we were focused on the impact assessment, and it's quite complicated process. And now, together with UN Global Compact in New York, B Corp is creating another tool, quite sophisticated, as you can see even from the first glance. Can you tell us a little bit more? What's the difference between BIA, the Impact Assessment, and SDGs Action Manager? And what's the reason? Why to build another tool?
Yes, that's a very good question, Paul. Thank you for asking it. Indeed, you could think about it. Those two tools are actually complementing each other. The BIA is providing a very holistic and comprehensive visibility for the company and how to structure itself in order to integrate those social and environmental considerations into its governance model. So the BIA is meant to be fully completed and is also verified and leading for the interested companies to the certification, the B Corp certification. Whereas the SDG Action Manager is also free. Both of them are free, actually, because the intention of B-Lab is really to spread the word and make sure that we can accomplish embedding sustainability in the company culture. So the SDG Action Manager is a free online tool, which is not verified as opposite to the BIA, because it's meant for really internal management of the company, and it's not meant to be fully completed either. The company can only focus on the specific SDGs that it wants, but it's going much further using that SDG lens, linking the company with a broader agenda, and also understanding how they can improve further the impact and what does it mean going against SDG washing, or how sometimes we call it rainbow washing, for companies that would claim that they are contributing to the SDGs, but just matching a color image with something they're doing when it's not actually having an impact, meaning changing the conditions of living to people or the planets on society itself. So the tool is really meant for that, to have this kind of correlation, but also to go further into impact improvements. So it's meant for both B Corps that are already certified and that want to improve further the impact using that frame, but also for other companies that may not be certified already and wants to get this systemic perspective and still be able to contribute in some way to something bigger. And the tool is just doing that for them.
We are quite familiar with SDGs, and in Poland we had a number of campaigns introducing companies to SDGs. There are serious consultancies supporting the SDGs usage as a strategic tool, as a kind of azimuth for the companies to build their sustainability strategies. I'm trying to figure out what is special in SDGs Action Manager. What are the key points which are making it different? Because you can match SDGs with offline data and try to see what is the real contribution of the companies. You can just try to build the matrix for your own company and see what is important, what are the goals which are relevant to the format of the company by yourself. Where is something which is really like innovation? Because I feel that for us, being a part of the B Corp global community, SDGs Action Manager is extremely useful tool to use it as an entry gate to the BIA and to the ways of measuring your impact. But we don't expect that every company will be a B Corp. We would love to have it like that, but probably it's not going to happen. There will be many organizations which are outside of the B Corp community. I'm trying to really to point who can do it, who should do it, if you can share a few thoughts about that with us, Neela.
Yeah, of course. As you said, not indeed every company would certify, but ideally in the world, we want every company to adopt those type of governance model and system and structure so that they would contribute to society, that business would be a force for good, and that success would be defined as a collective success and not so much about an individual success. The way that B-Lab has built the tool is really to broaden the reach and to be able to reach as many companies as possible. Since the SDG seems like the more universal language possible in the world, that's how we thought about using this framework. And which company, when you ask me really which company should use the tool, I would really just say again, every company should use the tool and be able to have this systemic perspective. Otherwise, we won't be able to really live all together on this planet and be able to sustain ourselves on the longer term. It was built in a way because if you remember the key figures I've shown at the beginning with a number of companies that are interested and very few companies taking action, the tool was really built to enable this trigger, this tipping point for company to really take action, not just be interested, because being interested is the first step, but it doesn't have an impact. Impact is coming from how companies are behaving and how they're acting on their environment. And every company has an impact on the society in general. It's either positive or negative, but it is an impact because they're influencing and they're acting on the community in which they're embedding. So the tool is built so that the company can actually assess what is the impact they're having and how it can be even better, more positive, and how to mitigate the negative impact that every company may have on both the people and the planets. And it has been built so that indeed companies can take action, and as easily as possible, really just this translating phase of, because there is a difference between understanding and knowing the SDGs and knowing how to act to contribute for the SDGs and taking actions to do it. So that's exactly what the tool is doing and how it was positioned.
Mm-hmm. Taking action is, I think this is the key element for me determining the positive impact you can reach with this tool. Knowing a little bit about B impact assessment and SDGs Action Manager, I can see that even from my own example, when the companies are trying to answer these questions, this kind of algorithm which is leading them towards the actions, they are being changed, and I can see that there is an impact of each of these tools on the organization. That the organizations which are confronting themselves with the tool, they are changing themselves, and I think that this is the main benefit of getting it on the agenda of, as you say, any company, because anyone from the business can do it, or probably should do it. I would like to ask you whether it's still very new, very fresh tool, and not many organizations went through it. But maybe you have some experience with some cases of the organizations which took it and they were somehow changed. If they were changed, in what aspects? What kind of leverage points you can present to us, or you identified by far?
Yes, leading by example is very important indeed. And that's also one of the aim we have with the tool, so that companies that are taking the tool can actually be vocal about it and influence other companies, because the idea is really to create not just an incremental change, but really leading to system change for, as we said, every company behaving this way. So just to share a very, very key figures about the usage of the tool itself, we were very happy that within the first 2 weeks after the launch of the tool, we had more than 900 registrations in Europe only in the tool. So that really shows that companies actually are interested in contributing and needing something like this. So again, very encouraging. Now we have between 3,000 and 4,000 companies that are registered already just in Europe. I'm talking not even the global level, using the tool. So those are very encouraging, and we're very happy and looking forward to have many more use case and generalizing this behavioral change that we are mentioning, how the company is changing by using the tool. And in terms of very concrete use case, we have, for example, one company in Italy called Chiesi, which is a pharmaceutical company that is really leading the change, not just using the tool, but leading and showing by example. They didn't just focus on specific SDGs for using the tool, but they actually assessed their contribution on all SDGs to understand what is actually how they're contributing in maybe other areas that they wouldn't even think about. And they have already embedded the SDGs in their strategy in 2018 already, but the tool, they've also been using it, and it has helped them to really increase and enrich their improvement plan and understand what does it mean to contribute. So I don't have any specific measures in mind on what they have exactly implemented, but I know that it really helped them to understand the link between the SDGs and their business, and gave them visibility on how they can further contribute. I can also show maybe very rapidly talk about another example that I find very interesting in Denmark about a hotel chain that's called Signature Hoteler. And they actually use, because, well, we all know that tourism industry is having such a hard time with the COVID-19 crisis. It's not so easy with the number of tourists that has went down dramatically. But they actually took this off time, at least for the top management part, to take the test, to actually go log into the SDG Action Manager and understand how can they recover better. How can they, when everything would go back to something that is more feasible for them to act, how can they embed the sustainability principles into their structure, so that when they go back again into the market, they would already have a long-term benefit and not just a short-term one. So those examples, I found them very inspiring, of companies that can actually have this long-term visibility because they know it's beneficial for them. Because in the end, if they want to survive on the long term, if we want all to survive on the planet, we need to have sustainability measures that are embedded into everything we're doing. And I really encourage every company to really build back better. Like, let's get it now, but let's learn from the mistakes and let's do it right for now, because we still can mend this and we can still have a really role to play for the future generations, and even for this one right now.
I'm very happy you took these two examples. Chiesi is a B Corp in Poland as well, and we are looking forward to have even stronger collaboration with Chiesi Poland. And we know that they are the biggest B Corp in Europe, and they are taking the SDGs agenda and interdependence agenda very, very seriously. But I think that even more interesting is the second example. I've heard about this case of the round table of this chain of hotels, and it was quite big. Probably 11 CEOs of the hotels were together, and they were using time of COVID just to use the SDGs Action Manager as their very pragmatic tool for rebuilding the strategy. So I think that it's another dimension, and fantastic that this is also on your radar. I see that we have a couple of questions rising. Let me read it. How can we use companies' results scored in SDGs Action Manager when reporting the progress of our sustainability efforts? Will it be treated as a recognizable tool that only CSR society rely on? How would you take it, Neila?
I would actually, because I can see that there is a follow-up of the questions saying, or maybe it's just a way to internally measure our results on the way to achieve the SDGs. And I would say, yes, actually, that's the answer. Yeah, the SDG Action Manager was built not as an external reporting tool, but as an internal management tool. So companies can really work on themselves and see what does it mean really to contribute to the SDGs. But of course, we encourage companies to be vocal about the measures that they're doing, about telling stories about the impact they're having on society. But the tool was not meant to have KPIs to be shared. It's mostly stories and acting already. But there are many other tools. The reason it was not meant for external reporting is that there are many other tools built by the GRI or other organizations that are really experts on that reporting side. And we wanted to focus to make sure that the tool would answer the needs of the companies to take action even before reporting, really taking actions and understanding how SDGs translates into business measures. So that's why it was built this way.
So in fact, you can plug it in, like make it actionable tool for your non-financial reporting scheme. Like let's assume that you are going not necessarily through BIA, but maybe you are going through any kind of reporting process, and you can add SDGs Action Manager as a tool allowing you to make your strategy actionable and to do some planning. Is that correct understanding?
Exactly. The SDG Action Manager would be the perfect tool to embed and integrate the SDGs into your strategy and your operating model, really getting the understanding parts and taking action, defining your improvement plan. But it has to be embedded in the overall approach. It's not just about using the tool for the tool itself. It's about having this SDG journey approach for the company to really engage very different stakeholders, whether it's employees or customers or suppliers, and really integrating it into the strategy, because it's not a side activity. It has to be part of the main activity. So that's how the tool was built, and we hope that companies would use it this way because it would truly be more beneficial for everyone.
Mm-hmm. As we are approaching the time limit, don't rush. Let's use your 1 hour with us. Some very practical questions. How long does it take? Is it difficult? I mean, let's get to the ground and say it explicitly. Is it because we hear opinions? We were discussing it in a group of B Corps in Poland, and said, "Gosh, we went through BIA. It's a quite complicated journey, and now again the pile of questions in a different protocols. Is it that complicated as it seems at the beginning? How long does it take?"
Yes, you're right. Let's be clear from the beginning. But just one thing I just wanted to remind. I know, I used to be a transformational consultant in my previous life, and actually transforming takes time. And I know everyone wants to have something that would be very easy to use, and that's how we're trying to build our tools, to make it as possible, easy to use and user-friendly. But transformation, some things takes time, and assessing your contribution and your impact also takes time, and for a good reason, because it's a complex question. The tool itself was built for each model to be filled with a baseline. For example, from experience, it takes about maybe half an hour to 1 hour to fill, approximately, depending on the level of information and the people who are filling it, because it really depends on the data that is available for you to answer the questions. And then for each SDG would really depend on the size of a company, because the number of questions are actually tailor-made depending on the company profile, depending on the industry, and depending on the size of a company. So I cannot give an exact answer, because again, it also depends on the person in the company that is doing it. If it's a person that has already all the answers, or if it's maybe during a group study. But as I said before, it's good to integrate the tool in a more global approach, not to fill it as fast as possible, but to use it as a guiding tool in a approach with maybe workshops and meetings with all your stakeholders and employees, to be able to really understand what does it mean, and to contribute, and to understand what the impact you're having and assess it, and then being able to contribute. So I don't have a key number on how long does it take in total. It depends on the company, it depends on your maturity, depends on so many things. But please don't be discouraged. It was made so that it would be as easy as possible to translate into a vocabulary, and for the journey of the user to be very intuitive, but it has also to be embedded in a more global approach on the company.
Mm-hmm. This is encouraging, and be courageous is a first tip probably we need to take away from this conversation. Do you have any other tips for the beginners? What would you say?
Yeah, that's also a good question. What type of tips could we give? Don't do it on your own. It is about contributing to something more global. So let's do it a part of a team, do it with your company, do it all together, engage maybe your customers, your suppliers also in the process. It's a journey that is worthwhile. Don't hesitate also to maybe be guided by other partners, or to take some help, because it's not easy when you're very operational to have this kind of distance and necessary time to deep dive into those type of topics. But just get started. That would be my main advice. Get started. Surround yourself with maybe a community or other companies, and that's also what we're trying to build with B-Lab, of course, to get those aspects that would encourage every company to contribute. But as soon as the most difficult part is always to get started, and once you get started, then it becomes addictive, because you get into this systemic mindset and perspective, and you can't go back, because you want to keep on behaving this way because you see the benefits of it, and you go even further in the way, and it's very rewarding.
Thank you for that. We will not let you go. Wait. There is another question on the chat. Are you planning to localize SDGs Action Manager to other languages than English? I think it would help to propagate the tool to be more frequently used locally in different European countries. Practical question, do you plan to do that or not?
We already have a tool that is translated in different European language. So we have it in Italian, we have it in French, and other languages that I'm not even quoting now. In Polish, I wish we would have it also translated directly. And I guess maybe if we have enough companies from the community that are early adopters and leading the way, maybe it's something that could be done also in the future. So please do so, so we can actually provide you with a local version of it if the demand is high enough.
We will work on that, especially having a support of the B Corp community, which we have here. We have representatives of benefit systems. We have Too Good To Go. I guess we have NetGuru here present as well. And probably I don't see, but we may have ANG Spółdzielnia as well with us today. Let's close this part. We may have another slot to ask questions after the part which will be run by Robert Morin, because we are now stepping into the second part of our meeting today. We call it, this is a working title, Robert Morin Asks. And today we have Mariusz Pelechaty, who will reply to the questions. So I handle this to Robert. The floor is yours. Thank you for the minute.
Thank you, Paweł. This is very much working title, actually. Our guest today is Mariusz Pelechaty, who is joining us from beautiful city of Wrocław. He is CEO of Codabots and co-founder of Hexa Capital. His company serves such clients as Santander Consumer Bank, Jeronimo Martins, Discovery Group, Żabka, and Heineken Group. And to start with, Mariusz, please tell us what actually Codabots does.
Yeah, hi Robert, hi you all. Thanks for the invitation. And in general, Codabots is an author of automated communication management system that allows our clients to create and to manage scenarios of various types of chatbots and voice bot conversations. So all those bots can be placed on Messenger, on WhatsApp, on the website, or on the phone number, and wherever you want, in fact. So we help our clients to solve their daily challenges in the area of marketing, customer service, sales, but also internal communication processes like help desk, HR, employees onboarding, and so on. We're still hearing new needs from our clients. So I'm very open to hear new ones. And I'm proud to say, as so far, we're a leading vendor of enterprise class chatbots and voice bots in Poland. And last but not least, we are part of, as you said, Hexa Capital Group, which I co-founded a few years ago. And it's a group of 4 companies from the big data industry, digital marketing, and the wide range of digitalization industry, let's say.
Okay. By the way, CEO of Hexa Capital, Daniel Świątkowski has said, I think it was Pulse Business on Monday, that the fund invests in companies, in ventures that are doing business in sustainable way, which seems that you are doing business this way. How do you see that? I mean, you know, he said that you are not looking for the profit in the short term. Does it pay to do business this way?
Yeah, it does, because that's the way we always wanted to create the company, and now we can do this. And when you visit our website, hexacapital.com, you will see there are 3 keywords, even more than keywords, let's call them values, and it's business, transparency, and the people. Business as first, because we cannot forget this, that business matters, and it's obvious. And obviously we need to be professionals who needs to generate profit, but transparency is something is very important for us, and it's still not a standard. For example, in all this VC world and startup world, where it's lots of money very often is burning, and the partnership and transparency is not always a leading value. And the people, because it's simple as that. No people, no technology, no product, no company. So we invest lots of our time and money to build good relations with our team, and to train those who start their careers, and help to those who are looking for new challenges after years in one place with one job. So under Hexa Capital umbrella, we created companies like CodaBots, and I think for sure we'll live and work in accordance to all those 17 sustainable development goals.
All right. Yeah, you know, one of the principles of B Corp and SDGs movement is actually making profit, but in a sustainable way, in accordance with every interest of stakeholders. And you had an occasion to use the SDG Action Manager that helps actually companies to do that. How you value this, and does it work for the companies like yours, technology companies?
Well, I don't have my own experience yet, but I think it's a great idea that there is a movement and society that increases awareness of problems that are common for the whole world. And as a technology company that operates in one European cities, we don't face on a daily basis problems like hunger or lack of access to education on a daily basis. But still being aware of that is making us, I'm sure, better people and better professionals. And I know we should be responsible not only for our little societies, but also as a mankind for a whole world.
Yeah, sounds good. But you know, you are dealing with bots, and when speaking of bots, there is a little red flag waving, because many people think that bots are primarily used to distribute misinformation and you know, engage in dirty politics. An example is Cambridge Analytica, that actually helped Donald Trump to win the presidential elections in the US. How to make this business ethical? How do you do that?
You know, I always said that a car in the wrong hands could be a weapon. Good advanced medicine in the wrong hands could be a poison. So that's the same situation. These types of bots you mentioned is a simply different type of software in the wrong hands. So that's not what we're doing. Our bots are for solving problems. They have to reply to customers' questions faster. They have to serve the informations about companies and their offer that people subscribe, and helping companies on the markets with lack of employees to answer everything they're being asked for. And I truly believe that Facebook, Twitter, internet, social media, but the internet in general makes more good than bad things. And that's my proposal for you guys for the number 18. Let's keep the web clean, because all this hate and fake news could kill people or businesses even more effectively than the bullets or COVID-19. And the web is a part of our world, it's a part of our time. It's lots of influencing informations are from there.
Okay, so we've got the 18th SDG, a proposal at least. So Naila could take this one and pass it, to Bilab and pass it to UN Global Compact. We will see what happens. So you are the author of it. All right, we've got it. Let's move to the current situation, actually, because we are undergoing a global economic crisis. A breakdown of the supply chains and lockdown have hit a lot of businesses. Where are we in Poland, business-wise, in this crisis, in this process?
I'm afraid that no one knows. In fact, we all wait for the autumn. When I talk with the management on different occasions, they are all waiting for the second wave. It will come or not. But in the last 4 months, I've made more than 150 calls with the board members, mid-level management, specialists, with a really wide range of different perspectives from different industries. And no one knows what the nearest future will bring to us. So we have to be ready for fast moves, fast decisions, and in general, be courage. And what that positive I see is that all this unexpected lockdown showed true about people, about businesses, and showed their dysfunctions. And now most of us are working on eliminating them if we want to survive and we want to realize the opportunity we have to win.
Mariusz, you say fast decisions. We need fast decisions, but how to make fast decisions when the knowledge of the situation is limited? You never know what it's around the corner. So how to decide, which way to go?
Yeah, since March, we know we are knowing ourselves a bit better. So we never know what's around the corner. So, but if something happens, let's not wait. Let's not discuss. Let's work. Let's do. Let's move. Let's move forward.
Okay, maybe there is a chance for something better. At least in Chinese, the word crisis consists of two characters. The first one is the threat, and the second one is described as an opportunity. So, yeah. What opportunity brings this pandemic crisis, in your opinion?
Well, it always depends for our company, because it's always the best to say about ourselves. And for us, in the short term, is a threat because here and now we are as strong as our business portfolio, and our clients also got hit, and it hurts. And companies, like airports, like travel, e-commerce, like gym providers, like shopping malls, event industry, they all got hit, and it hurts. But we do everything we can to keep our relations and help them, because they still need us. They still got new needs that will improve our business and our technologies. So we hear them very closely. But on the other hand, it's a chance for us as a business, because in a long perspective, as I said, during the last 4 months, I met hundreds of people during all those phone and video calls, and all those conversations shows that business starts to understand that some of communication processes in their companies could be automated and save time of professionals who needs that time to change the business and to make them fit to the current situation all around the world.
Yeah, Yeah, so certainly the COVID-19 pandemic crisis is changing the business and changing behaviors, actually. Many people say that nothing will be the same after this. Some others say that, after some time we will come back to previous old rituals. What is your opinion on that? What will change? What will stay the same?
Well, I'm one of those who say that business will be different, but not totally different. Industries will change their ways, how they work, but not the business in its roots. So we have to work. We see the current dysfunctions are shown. We have to cover to make the companies more flexible and able to decide faster. Some of executives finally see that the remote work is effective and makes business cost effective if possible. If of course it's possible, because not everyone works in the office and could work from any place in the world that allows to charge the battery, connect with internet. So we'll change some ways. We'll cut some long processes, but it's just a way we will work, not business as itself.
Okay, if you could describe some lessons learned for businesses, to take away from this situation, what would it be?
If we do care about people, people do care about the company, and good comes back. That's what I hear from my team. As I said, it's very important for us to invest our time and money to development of the team. But the second thing is the business can move faster, and the processes and decisions could be made faster. And COVID's shown that impossible things and procedures impossible to change could be not a problem at all. So people and moving faster are the two lessons I got, and I see around from my clients and my leads I'm contacting every day.
Yeah, you say people come first, but at the same time, technology is booming, and for many people, this boom of technology is a threat. Also, they think they will be losing jobs, and they are losing actually jobs, and maybe some of the positions will be taken by bots that you are actually selling.
Well, maybe, but our solutions, needs of our customers comes from the lack of employees for the work that is not very creative, that it's very repeated, but it's also opportunity, and some new profession is going on to the market. So someone who will be chatbot designer, someone who will develop the AI rules in many other processes. So that bot technology is unstoppable from my perspective, and the trend we see now is that it could be a standard in next 2 years, that the companies will develop and create AI development departments and chatbot designers, as I said, who will search the processes, work with these processes business owners, and after that work with vendors like us. So we as a business, as an industry of chatbots and voice bots, it's not for replacing the people, it's for helping the people to work faster and with the highest quality possible.
You say unstoppable. What's the future of bots, actually, of bots technology? Let's say in 3 years, how can you foresee this situation?
Yeah, all the machines are becoming more and more wise, and we have lots of data that helps us to create solutions and algorithms that are tailored to the processes we want to handle. As I said in a minute, businesses are developing their own departments and specialists who will work deep inside in the company. So we're still waiting for the new needs, and we're still waiting for the new challenges from the perspective of business we can face.
All right, so the future is bright with bots doing everything and algorithms.
The future is bright because business needs to optimize their processes. They need to make it easier for users. They need to make it cheaper. They need to make it easier for users and for the business owners.
Okay, we hope that all this can be done in ethical and sustainable way.
Sure.
We invite Codabots to B Corp movement as well. Thank you, Mariusz, for this interesting conversation. Let me see if there are some questions. Paweł, do you see any questions for Mariusz?
Not at this point yet, but I must express that I'm so thankful for this optimistic point, and I mean, I personally need a ray of optimism now, and I didn't expect that I can anchor my optimism with bots. So thank you, Mariusz, for that, and thank you also for inventing the 18th SDG. It's an interesting concept, and I face it very often that we try to enlarge the number of SDGs. I've heard about SDG, which is called sustainable leadership, and I think that's probably the audience which is very familiar with SDGs. I know that among the people who are participating in this webinar, we have people who are establishing SDGs scene in Poland for many years already. Some serious professors and experts and so on. We would like to have some closing remarks from all of us. I think this is the good point to open the cameras and to feel this fishbowl of the representatives of the B Corp. So Karolina, Rafał, Wojtek, Neila, you can switch on your cameras, and if you would like to give the final comments or last questions to Mariusz, please feel encouraged to do so. Yeah, and that would be really nice to have your voice, the voice of B Corps in this webinar. Anybody first? Wojtek?
Yeah, I'll go, and allowing this a few minutes to think about maybe different questions. I like to look at things also from as everybody from the perspective of experiences and past experiences. So the other hat I wear is the lawyer's hat, and we are good always at systemic thinking, and this is the way we are trained to look at the whole system. And I think that at this stage, I'm really, really happy and would like to encourage everybody, whether you're working in a small company or a big company, to actually start using the tools that we have at hand, the SDG Manager, the BIA, because these tools allow actually to companies and people, executives, whatever level you're working at, to start actually thinking at this level, at the systemic level. If we don't, this is the only way we actually can achieve a change that is required in these times. I mean, if we look at the climate change, the thing that is happening, only if everybody starts thinking at this level and comparing their actions to actions of other companies, to a bigger system, then we can achieve a meaningful change. And what I want to say at the end is, whether you're working in law, tech, finance, I would encourage you to start thinking about, the good you can create in the world. So not only making money, but also making some good. So if you would like to join a movement of companies and people that are thinking the same way, I think, Pavel, we would be really happy to have you with us. So that's my general call, if I can contribute anything to this wonderful discussion.
Thank you, Wojtek. Some other voices, Karolina or Neila or Rafał? Or...
I could share my thoughts. I think it's really important that we see the trend where companies start to see the need for change. I believe it's really crucial at the moment, because climate change is something that will happen and it's occurring at the moment. So the thing is, we have to act now. And of course, we need individual changes, like we see this via Too Good To Go, that people are ready to do individual stuff. And it's really great. We also saw how much we are able to adapt to difficult situations in the last months. Everyone went through this. So we're basically prepared for this. But we also need the impulse from business, and we need impulse from governments. So it's really good that there are companies that get together, people that talk together, and from those talks, the greatest idea come to life, basically. So I really hope to see more and more companies joining B Corps, because it's a great bunch of people who not only dream about changes, but are the drivers of changes.
Great, thank you for this comment. Anyone else? Just closing remarks.
Maybe I can.
Go on, Neila. Go on. Okay. No, I'm gonna have a quick comment. I think it's really important not to be afraid and to be aware that it takes a little bit of time, that you will not go through BIA or in 1 hour or 2 hours, but that you can set small goals and go step by step and take your time. And it's really worth to join this community, because there are so incredible people here. You cannot imagine how much inspiration you can get from there.
Thanks, Karolina. Neila.
Yes, I just wanted to thank everyone for all your positive energy that you're deploying. I'm so happy to see that Polish side of what's happening, and all the energy you have to make this meaningful change happen. I find it personally very encouraging. Also, even for myself, I feel like I have a lot of energy already for the day, and maybe the rest of the days coming after. So thank you everyone for organizing this webinar and for doing everything that you're doing, and allocating all your energy to drive this meaningful change. And very similarly, just building up on everything that has been said about up until now, is I would really encourage anyone, not just companies, but even every individual, to maybe not wait for the rest of the system to be ready for such a systemic perspective, but to start on your own journey. And the others we follow, lead by example. Let's not just wait for the government or for other actors to be ready and to act, but let's just start on our own level as a citizen, as an employee, as a CEO, as a leader in a company, and let's start to really bring this systemic perspective in mind. And again, as Wojtek said, also let's not doing it on our own, but joining maybe a community, because it's also about the aspect of society that we're doing it together, and where the success itself will be defined as a collective success and not just as an individual one. So let's just do it. We'll welcome every one of you.
Thank you, Neila. I think that we gravitate very strongly to my favorite SDG, which is number 17, which is partnerships and collaboration. And it's a fantastic conversation. Thank you all for taking part in that and spending 1 hour and something with us, sharing your ideas and leading us through. I want to share with you one more thing. I have an advertising background, as some of you know, and I used to sell and do sometimes very hard selling, and now I feel so relaxed because both tools of which BIA and SDGs Action Manager are free of charge. So this is really for us fantastic occasion to put on the table something which is for common use for everybody and can change the organizations, and via organizations can change the systems. So I'm so happy to do it with all of you. Thank you very much for your participation. We've tried to record this session as last time, and the link will be in our channels. I encourage you to comment, to see it, to observe us on CR Navigator Resilience, where the comment after this session will be presented, and the link quite soon, I hope. And I'm so happy that we are adding to the big work on SDGs, which has been done by far by many organizations, starting with UN Global Compact, UNEP Grid, with many consultancies which worked over the last 5 years on bringing it into the public in Poland. I'm sure that this contribution of SDGs Action Manager has a value, very strong value, and I'm so happy that we could do it, and we will do it even more. So thank you very much for this session. I think that we are right on time, and I hope to see you after holidays in September on our next webinar. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And
Thank
Paweł,
you.
really
very
thank you, I think, from everybody here for, making this event happen and for doing, a lot of heavy lifting around this. As always, great moderation, and thank you.
You were raising the bar, Wojtek, so just be careful. Thank you very much.
I'm putting pressure for next events.
I know that. Thank you very much, and see you in 1 month or 2 months' time.